Hello, everybody. Uh, Welcome to our presentation on our Peru Machu Picchu trip. We'll wait a couple of minutes to get fully started into the presentation. Let people join. We've got a bunch of people in the waiting room just signing on now. So we will be starting in just a moment. All right. So I think we've got people that have joined. And we'll get started right into the presentation. So we have a lot of time for any kind of questions that you might have about the trip, things going on. It's a really exciting. This is going to be our first international trip. Thank you for joining us. Really excited. The response from last night to tonight has been really good. A lot of people are interested in this trip, and I can't wait to tell you about it. It's been a long time coming. I know I've been hinting about it for a while. I've gone back and forth with different providers, and finally, we're gonna get it off the ground, and I can't wait to tell you about it tonight. So, um, we're gonna talk about the Peru trip with our partner Adventure Tripper that's helping us put it all together. Um, so we are going to visit Machu Picchu, which is the highlight of the trip. I think that's why everybody goes. But there's a couple other really amazing things that we're going to see along the way. We're going to do the Salcante trek and also go to Rainbow Mountains. And there's a couple other excursions built in, tour the city and some other ruins that we're going to talk about and go see. So let's dive right into the presentation and show you Machu Picchu and the trip that we're doing in June. All right, so the overview of the trip, it is 9 days. It's going to run from June 6th through the 14th. So we're going to arrive in Cusco middle of the day, June, depending on how the flights go, and we'll fly out on the 14th. Some of the highlights that we'll talk about: the Sacred Valley of the Incas, Humante Lake. It's a 4 day, 3 night Salcante. So you say it's Salcante with the emphasis on the first syllable, trek, a visit to Machu Picchu, and then a bonus excursion to the Rainbow Mountains. So let's talk about that. Slide is in the wrong place, but that's okay. Um, Let me just double check something. We'll go on from there. So this is the overview of the Salcante trek. I may come back to this slide a few times, but we will hike this counterclockwise, and you'll see that our first camp is this sky camp right here, and I got some other pictures of it. And then we'll do our most difficult day, which goes over the Salcante Pass, where we get great views of Salcante Mountain. Then we're going to come downhill and stay at these mountain sky view huts. And then the last day we'll have a presentation about coffee and go to the jungle domes and end in Aguas Calientes. And then make our trip, take a bus ride and make a trip into Machu Picchu. And then the next day we'll do Rainbow Mountain. So that's kind of the overview of the trek. I kind of went back and forth a bunch of different times of which trek to actually do. There's the traditional Inca trail, which is quite a bit shorter. You do see a few more ruins along the line in that trail, but it's very busy, and permits are very hard to get. So things could happen where we might not lock in. Um, there's a lot of different things that can happen on the Inca Trail. It's substantially easier as well, less distance, less elevation. But in my opinion, it wasn't as epic as I've learned about the Salcante Trail. It's been, my opinion that fits more of the adventure brand of Outside Chronicles, going to the high pass, into the mountains, into the cloud forest, into the jungle, and making a little bit more difficult trek around Peru and the mountains of Peru to get to Machu Picchu. So You can read about the differences. I can share with you kind of the research that I did, but at the end of the day, I thought that was a better fit for the people that I knew would want to do this trip with us, as opposed to doing the Inca Trail. So that's why we're doing the Salcante Trail. Some really cool places to stay overnight, and a little bit more challenge along the way. So now this is the itinerary of the trip. Again, I can go back to the map if you want to see it and have questions about that. So the first day we're going to arrive in Cusco and have a half day tour of the city. Second day is going to be a tour of the Sacred Valley of the Incas, which is pretty close to Cusco. And then we're going to take our transportation and begin our trek. And our first uh, point of interest is the Humante Lake. You can see it in the pictures in this page. It is a very turquoise alpine lake, very beautiful. I can't wait to visit it. Based on the alpine lakes I saw in the Sierras, this one's going to be just as spectacular. So that's when we actually begin our trek on day 3. And day 4 gets us to that Salcante Pass, which is a 15,000-foot pass. So some serious elevation. I got a slide that shows the mileage and elevation of the day. It's not as much climbing as you might think, but we're at elevation. So our lungs and other stuff are going to feel it. But the nice part is we have a couple days. We have that day in Cusco. We have the Sacred Valley of the Incas, to kind of acclimate ourselves to the higher elevation. It's still going to be hard. No matter what we do, we're still going to be huffing and puffing, taking it slow, and going through that. So then we come down off that Salcante Pass to the jungle area called St. Teresa's Valley, and that's where coffee is produced. And then that final day, we'll go to Aguas Calientes before we actually go to Machu Picchu. So that next day is Machu Picchu, and then the final day is an excursion to Rainbow Mountains. So those of you that are, interested on what we're actually doing, we're hiking some decent trails and some decent elevation. So day 4 is probably going to be the most difficult. It's a 14 miles and 23,000 or 2,300, almost 2,400 feet of elevation gain, and a lot of elevation loss. That's when we're going over Salcante Pass and heading down into the jungle. So, uphill is one thing, definitely going to be a cardio kind of thing going uphill. But coming downhill is also going to be challenging. Losing 5,000 feet in one day is pretty challenging. I haven't looked at the actual grade of those going down. I'm expecting, since it's 14-mile day, both are pretty gradual, both up and down. I am going to ask a couple of people that I know that have done this trek and see what their impression is of it. But like I said, we're at elevation, so no matter what kind of work we're doing, it's going to be possibly huffing and puffing along the ways. And then the last day is a little bit longer of a day, 15 miles, and 2,600 feet of elevation gain, 2,400 of loss. So if you're interested in what the treks look like, when I give you the website, you can refer to the website. Each day has both the elevation gain and loss and the mileage for each one of those days. So you can refer back to that. Okay. So now our accommodations. When we're in Cusco and Aguas Calientes, there's 3-star hotels that we'll be staying at. And then along the way, you saw on the map those 3 unique campsites that we're going to stay at, which I thought was a super unique way to do this trek. There's other ways you can do it in tents, but I thought these different unique camps would be a real special treat for this trip. So I decided to include these camps on there. So we're going to be the Igloo Domes, which is in the Sky Camp. That's going to be our highest camp, I believe. And that is the top picture that you're seeing there. Then we're going to stay in the Sky Huts at Mountain Sky View campsite. That's the middle picture. And then we have these jungle domes at what they call the Super Jungle Domes campsite on the last day. And all of these are double occupancy. You can upgrade if you want single occupancy. I don't know the price differential between these, but we have a fairly large group. I don't know how many of these actual domes and huts there are, but it is double occupancy, and the other option would have been sharing tents. I thought this was pretty unique and would offer a pretty unique experience to the trip to stay in places like that. Okay, so things to know about the trip. The first thing is the travel costs. It's not cheap to get to Peru. Right now, I did uh, tested a few trips, itineraries, both from Buffalo and Toronto. It is a little bit cheaper to fly out of Toronto. Out of Buffalo is around $1,300. There were some flights out of Toronto as low as I think about $900 to $1,100 out of Toronto. So we can look at the options for that after we confirm the trip and we have our dates set. We can look at different options, you know, to see which is the most beneficial to that. So definitely, when you see the price of the trip, that doesn't include airfare. Airfare is quite pricey to get to Peru. So then if you do decide you want to book, we haven't confirmed yet because we need a certain number of people to confirm the trip. We're getting close. I really have my fingers crossed, and they're crossed, you can't see it, that we are going to run this trip. But we do have to get to a minimum to allow the group to, or I'm sorry, the outfitter, adventure tripper, the travel agents that we're going through to confirm with the outfitter. And then once they confirm, your refund or anything that you've put down on the trip is a partial refund. Like there's a scale of but it drops to like 50%. When you register, there is a link for the cancellation policy. On the follow-up, I'll also put the link to the cancellation policy. And the reason we have to be really careful about this is because the travel embassy, the travel department of Peru is very, very strict about permits and things around Machu Picchu. So once we confirm with the outfitter, they're going to work on getting all of our permits for the Salkantay trek, for Machu Picchu, for Rainbow Mountain, and do all of that kind of stuff. And we need to have our names in there for them to get those permits. And those names, it's very hard for them to change. They'll work on it with us, but let's say somebody drops out, we might not be able to fill that spot because they won't be able to get another permit. You can't transfer permits. Once the permit is set for somebody's name for a particular day, that's all there is. So, be very, very sure that you want to go on this trip. We know that there's, extenuating circumstances, things happen with family, things like that, but it will, you may not get a lot of your money back, and we won't be able to have anybody else take your place because the permit system is just very strict. And once we confirm, that's when we got to be real about the trip. I'll let you know the one we're confirming, and then go from there. So be very sure that you want to go on this trip, and because it could be costly for both you and I if you can't go on the trip. So the cost for the trip is $2,150. I can go over the website in just a second of what's included. There's a lot of days where breakfast, lunch, and dinner is included. Some days it's just breakfast and lunch. It depends on the activity that we're doing. Some days it's just breakfast. So while we're on the trek, all our meals are provided for us, and then it'll vary depending on what we're doing on that particular day of what is actually included. It's pretty encompassing of what's in the trip, but there's a couple little things that aren't included, and we can go over those details over the website. To secure your spot, so if you were to click the Buy Now button, you'll have two options available to you when you go through the cart. You can either pay the full amount, the 2150, or you can pay in 4 installments. And I did check with Adventure Tripper. You'll get notice a few days before your next installment is due, and then you'll have to pay that next installment. Doing the payment plan does lock you in for the trip. So all those things about the cancellation policy still hold. So you'll be able to get your refund of your partial payment up until we confirm the trip. After we confirm the trip, then it will be, a smaller amount refunded to you at that point, because all of the things that I kind of told you, it's very strict on the permit system. Okay, so that's the things to know. Here is the sign up. If you guys want to take a look at that, you can scan that. I can also put that in the chat for you guys. Oops, you can't see that, so I'll toss that into the chat. Huh. What the heck did I put in there? OC202. That can't be right. Hang on 1 second. I copied and pasted it from Bitly, but it should have been OC 2026. Let me double check that link. 2026. Yeah, I don't have the 6. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So it's 2026. I must have cut it off on the slide. So there's the correct link for the trip to book it. So I'm going to pause right there before we go to the website. I'll answer any questions that you might have, and then we'll take a look at the website and answer any more questions that might come in. So you can either throw them into the chat or unmute yourself and speak. Yes, there are some bathrooms at the domes. I think there's showers as well. So let me just look at the itinerary quick. So I'm just scrolling through. That's a great question. I did see it somewhere of what is included there. I will double check on all of those, but I do believe there's bathrooms and I think showers at the domes, which was also kind of a bonus. Do we carry all of our belongings, and do we need a full pack or just a day pack? It's mostly just a day pack, Mary. There is porters and mules that take luggage. They have, if you can see, let me look back to here. So there's porters, so they'll carry 15 up to 15 pounds of gear. So you can put most of your items and then just keep small stuff in your day pack, water, snacks, things like that. Yeah, so good question, Stephanie. Within the trip, they will do 2 transfers between the airports. We'll try to get most of the group on similar flights. There's not many to pick from, but you will be getting your own travel. But I will, as soon as we confirm with the company, we can start booking flights. So we're going to arrive. It looks like the flights or the best way to do the flight is to leave on the 5th from Buffalo or Toronto, and you arrive on the morning or early afternoon of the 6th, which would be our day 1, the arrival in Cusco, and then have a half-day tour. You can certainly go a day early if you'd like and accommodate, find your own accommodations. I can ask the person I'm working with at Adventure Tripper where we'll be staying, and you could possibly book an extra night at that hotel. Okay, so gear. Yeah, so gear is provided. Sleeping bags, trekking poles, duffel bags for personal items, first aid, and safety satellite phones for the guides to have. So your sleeping bags and poles will be provided. We'll be sleeping on beds. I will get a much more in-depth list. I believe somewhere on here. What gear do I need? Once you book the trip, we'll get a detailed list for everything. So I don't have that list. I could probably ask for that list, and I will provide it to everybody that's booking the trip. So other questions, guys? Who's in? Is the question I have. Are we going to have enough to run this trip? If you saw on the slides, you notice it says hurry, only 6 spots left. So that means there's already 10 people signed up, including myself, which is very cool.
Well, you know,
Other
I'm going to
que
be there.
Yeah, yeah, I see you on the list already, Jason. Other people in the room. Anybody else thinking about it, on the fence? Any questions that I can ask or answer for you guys? I don't have all of them, but the Adventure Tripper has been extraordinary to work with, and they'll get me the answers, very, very quickly. So, if I can't answer it tonight, I will take it back to them, and I will, kind of summarize some of these questions that Mary and Stephanie had for everybody in the group. Other questions, other concerns about the trip, questions about the itinerary. It's new to me, so I will be amazed, just like you will be. I do know 2 people that went on the Salkantay trek, and they said it was absolutely incredible. They would totally do it again, and really enjoyed just the general experience of it. It's a little more remote, a little more cultural if you read about it. Definitely get into different um, uh, areas between alpine and jungle and cloud forest, and see the country. We will see Machu Picchu from up high. You get glimpses of it along the trail up high, and then we'll loop around and then take the bus to see Machu Picchu.
Hey, Mike, I joined a little bit late, so I might have missed this, but are there any special requirements for travel, like visas or passport? Besides the passport?
Just a regular passport.
Okay. And then I think you said, leaving, we need like to travel the day before, right? We'll leave Buffalo the day before, and then same with the end. Basically, we need to bracket this with like time off and travel plans to be
Right.
day
Yeah.
before, day after.
The flight back is very similar. We would get back a little bit sooner. I don't recall what the actual flight. I just went on kayak and was playing with a few options, and like I said, the best from Buffalo, I'll pull that up, was leaving Friday and coming back Sunday. Oh, come on. Oh, I got to put Buffalo in there. I'll pull that search up for you when it actually comes up. Takes a couple seconds. I'll look at some other, flight options. There's a few other services, but they're all pretty similar by way of times that we would be able to pick from. So taking a look at this one, this is leaving. We're gonna leave the night before, Friday night, and arrive on the 6th at 10 a.m. in Peru. So that's the flight out of Buffalo. And you see we leave early the last day and arrive midnight there. But there aren't a ton of options. They get pretty pricey after that. And like I said, when you go out of Toronto, which has its own hurdles to get with, it is a little bit cheaper. But the flights are very similar, where we're leaving the night before and arriving midday. But you see, there's a couple of these that have the self-transfer at the airports. It is a little bit cheaper if we can get up to Toronto. So those are the options, but we'll try to somewhat coordinate arriving so we can take advantage of the transportation to and from the hotel.
Mike, can you hear me? It's Bruno.
Hey, Bruno. Yeah.
Hi, I was just there last year, and as far going back to the passport cannot expire within 6 months. That's one of the rules. So
Okay.
if your passport expires within 6 months, that's going to be a problem. Just so you know.
Good to know, Bruno. Thank you.
That's important to know. Okay, great.
Now, Bruno, you did Machu Picchu. Did you do Rainbow Mountain as well, if I remember?
No, we did the sister Rainbow Mountain, which is not as touristy. But I would love to go. My only problem is that the World Cup is next year, around that time. I would love to go. This is going to be a great trip. You guys are going to love it. I'm on the fence right now, but I'm envious.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe you can join us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for that info.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No questions. This is a big trip, guys. I hope you guys.
What
Yeah,
do
go
you
ahead.
recommend for to prepare for this as far as hiking, and how good should you be? How physically
Yeah,
fit should you be?
I mean, based on the elevation, the more cardio that you can do, the higher VO2 max you can get your body to, the better you're going to be at. It's going to affect everybody differently. Some people will be, could be, really affected by it, headaches, things like that. Other people might not be affected that way. We will all probably be affected by our lung capacity. So the more cardio that we can do, the higher VO2 max that we can do. So, for me, it's going to be very similar to the training I did for Rainier. Lots of zone 2, increasing elevation, getting myself to be able to do, that 2,000 feet. I can, look at the route. If I can get a GPX of it and figure out how steep it is. I'm guessing it's not that steep based on the elevation gain and the amount of miles that we're doing. If you look at it, even that hardest mile, if you split it 7 miles, you gain 2,000 feet, you lose 5,000 feet. It's really not that bad. It's an effort, but it's going to be an effort at 15,000 feet. So we have to remember that. So definitely any kind of training, which could be steps, could be hill repeats, longer hikes, making sure that you can, hike at your maximum aerobic fitness is what it's called, your zone 2, that upper level of zone 2 for a long time. I think it's also going to be a fairly slow pace. You don't have too heavy of a pack as well, which will definitely help. And we'll probably, on those long days, you stop for lunch for a while, take breaks, things like that. So Definitely you're going to have to be able to hike 15 miles and definitely going to be able to climb, 2,500 feet. If you're doing high peaks already in the Adirondacks, you're going to be just fine. I think you will be affected by the lung capacity. If you're, a casual hiker, I think you're going to have to, train a little bit harder. You're going to have to go seek those, harder hikes to make sure that you can build that lung capacity to be able to perform at a higher elevation. So that's really going to be the more the concern. I don't think it's going to be the amount of climbing or the distances per se. It's going to be just doing it at 15,000 feet. If you are concerned about it, there is medication you can take. It's called Diamox, to prevent altitude sickness. So you can take that ahead of time. Yeah, Mary, I think a duffel is provided based on the pack list. So that's where all of your extra stuff that's not going to be in your day pack is going to go. My guess is we can also leave suitcases at the hotel, but I will confirm both of those things. If you have more clothes than what you're going to take on the trek, there's probably accommodations to keep that somewhere since we're going to, Machu Picchu and Rainbow Mountain. They're going to be able to transfer that stuff somehow. Other questions? Well, I'm going to flip over and see if anybody signed up in the last few minutes. I should have a bell going. Ding, 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 ding. Good question. Whether at the time of the year, we are at the beginning of the busy season. So the busy season, which is the non-rainy season there, is June through October. I will double check and see what the actual temperatures are going to be, because we are at elevation as well, which is going to probably impact that even more. So I am going to guess it's going to be cool on the cooler side. I don't think it's going to be freezing, but it might be on the cooler side. Any shots and vaccinations required? I don't believe so. Bruno, did you have to have
No.
anything specific?
No shots, no vaccinations.
What time of year did you go, Bruno?
We went in April.
April? Okay, so
Beginning
you were
of
a little
April.
bit before,
Yes.
more in the rainy season.
It rained one day while we were climbing towards Machu Picchu, but overall it was good weather. We were lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what they told me is even the rainy season's kind of like Florida. It'll rain for 15 minutes and then it's done. Okay, I got lots of homework to do, and I will recap with the folks from Adventure Tripper to get a lot of these answered for you guys as we prepare for the trip. Anybody else have any questions? Mary, very good questions. I know some of you guys are already signed up for the trip, which is exciting. No, tips, guides, and porters, you would bring extra for that if you look on the website. They do mention that. There's also, I think, possible a transfer on the train that we will have to pay for as well. I think it's like a $40 train ride. Standard for tripping there, I will double check. I did ask that question. Let me see if I can pull it up, what the answer is. It wasn't a very good answer that I got the first time I asked. So let me pull it up
Your
and read you
website
what they
says
told me.
your website says early bird pricing ends October 30th. Is there a higher rate if you decide to go after October 30th?
Yeah, good one. Let me answer this one first, and then I will circle back to that one. Let me see if I can find it in my email quick. As I'm looking for this, I'll answer your question about the October 30th. So where we are right now with the price is we're locked into 2025 pricing. So the outfitter is going to honor that price until October 30th. We don't know how much it would go up in 2026. It could stay the same, could go up a little bit. We don't know. We can also, since we already have 10 people signed up, we can also possibly negotiate with them. The lady I'm working with at Adventure Tripper, her name's Melina. She was kind of like, well, yeah, if we got enough people, we'll just go back to the outfitter and kind of say, can you honor these prices? So I don't know specifically if it's going to go up. It may go up, it may not. So I'll keep you informed that way. All right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going through some email. I may not find this answer, but I will send it. If you're RSVP'd for this, I will get you, all of the answers that were asked in the thread here.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
So there's probably a million YouTube videos from people who went just this past couple months that answer a lot of those questions in pretty good detail. Like
Mhm.
there's a whole ceremony for tipping, and they take it pretty seriously, their tips. And like stuff you can buy along the way. You go through towns, there's toilets along the way, 2 cold showers. So if someone wants to dig into YouTube, they can find a lot of these answers.
Yeah, I'll definitely thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely try to get some better answers for some of this stuff. Because I did ask about the tip, and now I'm not able to find it, and I don't want to quote something that was incorrect. I can't find it real fast here, Mary. I'll get back to you on that. Other questions, guys? And if you are on the trip, and you have a question, reach out to me. I'm guessing, or if you're not on the trip and have a question, reach out to me. I'm guessing if you're asking it, other people might ask the same question or be wondering the same thing. So, I will do my best to answer all of these and get the answers from the travel company or outfitters directly. Yeah, Jason, that's a good idea. I'll Venmo you. I'll Venmo it to you now, and you can just handle that. You're the treasurer. All right, so I'll hang out for a little bit if anybody else has questions. I'm excited. This is our first time doing this, and we're gonna make some mistakes, so be patient with us. I will do my best to work with the company, the travel company, and the outfitters to make sure we get all of the information up front. Do not hesitate to ask because, like I said, if you're asking, other people are probably wondering the same thing. So ask away, ask questions. I want everybody to be comfortable with the trip. You know, I will definitely have a high level of anxiety, but it'll work out and we'll have a great time. Will you take more than 16 if there's interest? There is a possibility of that. It'll be up to the outfitter of the maximum we can take. You know, it works differently than, you know, trips. I don't know if there's a maximum permit, but I know in speaking with Melina about another trip, they had a trip of about 20. So they're capable of taking more. So if there is a overwhelming thing of the trip, yeah, we will do that. I think the limiting factor is going to be how many beds that we can have at those camps. So the sooner we tell the outfitter, the sooner they can book all that and make arrangements for that. But right now, like I said, we've got 6 openings right now. So I think it's fairly popular. I knew, you know, a lot of people had reached out to me, you know, people through the adventure club when, you know, I told them about this, told me they were interested and they booked a trip. So they're part of those 10 that have already booked. So that's really exciting. What's the minimum we need? I think we're at the minimum. I think we need to get at least 10. So that's what I'm saying. I'll have to double check when we actually confirm. We might want to hold off on confirming a few more days, or at least till the end of October, to see how many people that we have. But I do believe that we are either at the confirmed level or very close, which is very exciting. All right. Yeah, if nobody else has any more questions, feel free to email me if you want to talk about the trip. Feel free to give me, hit me up on, email or messenger. We can talk on the phone. I can walk you through anything that we need to. All of the questions, I'll get back to you. If you're listening to this on video, as a recording, I will send a follow-up email with all of the links for registration to the website. I'll try to get answers to some of those questions. I probably won't get them till tomorrow. I'll send the follow-up, and then, I'll summarize those questions and get answers out to the group. The link is live. You can register. If you have questions or concerns, or anything I can help with to get you in the right mind to do this trip and want to do this trip, just hit me up and I will do my best to smooth it over for everybody. All right, I know it's a big commitment. It's a big trip, international. It's scary for me. But I think we're in good hands with the company, and we'll have a great trip. So far, the people that have signed up, I already know it's going to be a great trip, and we're going to have an epic adventure together. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for those that have already signed up. It's really exciting. Hopefully, a few more people get interested based on what we're seeing here, and we'd love to have you on the trip and experience Peru with you. All right, guys, no more questions are coming in. I will end it here, say good night, and hopefully we see you in Peru in 2026, in June of 2026. Let me know if I can be of any assistance to you for this trip. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.